going to be so powerful for people to see what you have created here with this book. Like, it's going to change a lot of people's lives, I think.
I know, I'm super excited about it. I went through like the process of doing it, and it was interesting doing it because it would come, I'd go through spurts of, oh, let me just write for like hours. And then it would be sort of like a recovery, I guess like a recovery time after, but it was really kind of the first time that I had done that, not necessarily for, I'm sure I did it back in school with getting papers done and things like that, but I haven't done it in like so many years. So
yeah, well, I can't wait to share that with everybody here now, because we're live on Facebook. Yeah.
Oh, hi everybody.
Hey. So today we're back with Spotlight on the Shadow Seekers. Today is day 5, and I have a brand new author with me, Andrea Snyder, she's like the OG empath. Like, everything that you know about being an empath, she's here to just kind of blow it up and show you exactly what it means and to help you through it, because it's not an easy circumstance. And I'm honored to call her a shadow seeker. I'm so excited to have you on here, Andrea. So excited. Yay.
Yeah, I'm super excited too. Yeah, it's so interesting because this morning I was going through a process of like getting ready, grounding myself, calming myself, which is in itself is something that's so important for empaths. And I think it's something that, especially as an empath, you ignore your needs. It's hard to say and it's hard to acknowledge, but you do ignore your needs. And the other part that really came through this morning for me is, sort of breaking that term of an empath, because I think so often it unfortunately gives us a card to say we're a victim. We're not really a victim. I mean, it's hard for me to say, especially as one, like, that hits me right in the heart, but it's all about our choices. And whether, there's plenty of reasons why you may identify as an empath. Like for myself, between childhood trauma, past life trauma, loss, things like that, all that stuff that was weighing me down, and I was trying to sift through it the best that I could. But at the end of the day, like, there was things ingrained in me and patterns ingrained in me that almost, I don't know, allowed me to continue on paths as well as interacting in the way that I was. Yeah. And that's part of where like shadow work really came in for me, where I had spent years, and I knew, especially with like mental health, which is a whole other topic that I've dealt with basically since I was a child and probably before that, where anxiety and just depression was just like rampant in my life, in my family too. And that's really when shadow work, like, me and shadow work just found each other. Like, so it really was a time in my life where everything had to stop. Like, I had to stop everything that I was doing. I had to stop, like, I had to disconnect from everything, like my physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, everything was like, everything has to stop. And my whole body was just like, we have to stop. Like, my brain was like, we're cutting you off. My body was like, everything's hurting, like, I had to get to that point, I think, to really like stop, even though I had years, of therapy, which I still continue, and I talk therapy, I've seen multiple like doctors, and chronic pain, like went gluten-free, all the things that I worked through. But right after I had actually decided to take a medical leave of absence from my job that I had worked, went to college, I did all the things, what I was supposed to do, kept trying to do what I was supposed to do, and I had to every day stuff myself down inside and pretend. So right before that, I decided to take this leave of absence that was super scary. But ironically, I, was scrolling Facebook like so many do these days, and I came across a page that's it's only an acquaintance, and I probably just, clicked accept. And this was Debatella, I think, her group.
Oh,
And yeah, so I was just scrolling through, and it literally was Danielle just talking, having conversation with Deb. And I was like, what is this? Like, whatever was said at the time, I was like, what is this? And so like I stopped and I was like, what is this? Like, I'm getting the resonation chills. And I was like, what is this?
I always wondered
And
how you found me.
yeah.
So funny.
Yeah. And you were like talking, and then I was like, and I hadn't, she was doing some she would have people come. I caught none of the other ones. That group never came up on my feed ever. And then that, you were talking, and then I think I followed you on like Instagram. And then I think maybe you were announcing about a new Create Your Light Academy, or I forget what exactly happened, but then I like reached out. Yeah, I think I reached out to you. And that's the other thing. When I reached out to you and we had a phone call, I felt like it was not just that you were like, oh yeah, sign up for my program. Like you were like what's your not what's your problem, but like, can I actually help you? Like, what's your problem? And like, do you, like, is this person open to this? Is this, so it was as much like you were not assessing, but it made me feel like you weren't just going to be like, oh yeah, like my program's going to help you. Like it was like almost like a match two-way versus like somebody trying to be like, hey, do my program. So yeah, so that was like, I just went and went. I don't know if you want to talk.
No, I feel like it's funny how things happen that way. Like I know for me, things happen the same way. Like when I first did shadow work, it was one of those things that I was like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to be doing. Let it find me. And I was terrified. And shadow work found me. And I started working with this woman, Allison, in the UK, and she changed my life. And I never would have thought this is what I was going to do. It was not something that I planned. And shadow work found me. And I think that happens for all of us when there's something that we need. And we just kind of take a rest and we go like, okay, like let it find me. It does every single time. And I know it's cool to hear that it did for you too. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. So I definitely would say and I know it's difficult to be, I feel like so much today where we're hit with so many different things where it's like, well, which one is for me? You really have to tune in and be like, okay, like there's some reason that this keeps popping up. Like there's some reason that I saw Devatello's group that I joined however long ago with someone talking about shadow work. So that's the one thing I would say too, for people to like follow those like synchronicities of like, oh, okay, maybe you don't know what it's even about. Like I didn't know about shadow work, but I had been in therapy, and I think like just my mindset of like, why is my mind this way? And I had done as much work as I kind of could,
Yeah.
And I was just like, right before that, I was like, look, I don't even know who I was talking to, because I was just like, hey, like, I need like some way to like get to like the root of what this is like I need the root here, because I've tried to do all the, surface level things, but I need to get to the root, and I need like some way to like dismantle this root of this problem. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. I have a lot of stories like that just amaze me.
It's really important to acknowledge that too. I call them cosmic breadcrumbs. Like the universe is always giving us little breadcrumbs to follow, but we're not always listening and paying attention because we're so tunnel visioned on what it is that we have to do. Like for me, leading up to the point before shadow work, it was like, put your head down, go to work. I was putting in like 12 to 14-hour days, come home, shower, sleep, wake up, get the kids to school, do it again. And it was just repeat over and over again. So I couldn't hear anything. I couldn't pay attention because as the signs came in, I was too tunnel visioned and focused. And it took getting sick to be able to take a step back and go, what the fuck actually is going on? I know for people who are empathic, and let me just specify, there's a big difference between being empathic and being an empath, which you cover in your book, which is really important because there's I think most people who are into spirituality have a level of empathicness to them. Like, we can be empathic, we can really put ourselves in each other's shoes, but being an empath, a true empath, is like being a sponge, where everything that's happening around you is like you just take it all on and it all gets absorbed, until you learn how not to do that, which you also explain in your workbook and give people practical tips on how not to. So for people who are empathic, it's like, not only are you tunnel visioned on what you have going on, it's like you're doing your best to shield yourself from everybody else's stuff as you move through. And that's really overwhelming to do on a daily basis, to just figure out how to keep yourself sane with all the chaos swirling around you.
Yeah, that's essentially like my life story. I feel like ironically, I don't want to say I never, because I have at some point like, oh, that would be cool to write a book. And so pretty much, I don't know whose they are, but somewhere along the way I picked up, well, it wouldn't come into your mind unless you were capable of doing it. So, which maybe is a little bit, I don't know, ego side, but I use that sometimes to like follow those breadcrumbs too, where, oh, that came in my mind, that came in my mind for a reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, my journey of just going through, and first, I didn't know the word empath until probably, like 5 years ago. But once I found like the word, I was like, oh, like, what is this? And like, what does this actually like mean for me? And what, like, what can I do about it? And like, what are my options? Like, what tools can I use to like support myself? So, the journal really came from, in the workbook, I call it all kinds of things because I feel like it's so many things in one. But it's really going through and understanding specifically what an empath is, where just like the difference you said between, having an empathic nature and having empathy for people, and then actually being an empath, even though obviously the word empathy, like empath, came from empathy, but it's a next level of empathy. It's not just like, resonating with someone's experience, where, oh, that person's, I don't know why this is coming to my mind, but that person's dog passed away and I had a dog that passed away. It's more than that. It's actually feeling what that person is actually feeling on top of what you're feeling currently. So it's 2 layers of whatever you're dealing with at the time, and then the energetic, emotional, like mental charge of whatever that experience that person is going through. So you're almost carrying both of those things together. And then you walk around and you interact with all the other people, you absorb more and more of that energy, and it just is, weighing. I felt like it weighed me down. Like it was just like this weight I was always carrying. So the workbook really goes through the process of saying, like, what's an empath? What are signs that you may be an empath? Exploring, okay, how does that show up in your life? What are experiences that you had that you think are, fitting as an empath? What scale are you on as far as an empath? Like, are you, you're affected, I don't want to say like a little bit, but like it's a scale where it could be like, yeah, you're an empath, and then you're like this significant empath or whatever it is. But it details out signs that can present themselves as an empath. There's journal prompts throughout it. There's a quiz, an empath quiz, to help you identify if you are one. There's tools throughout it that you can actually use.
So many practical tools in there. It's powerful.
Yeah.
It's funny for me to think back to the beginning, because when you first started Create Your Light Academy, you had no idea what you were doing. And then when you started Radiate Your Light Academy, you still, like, you were clearer, but it wasn't like you were like, I'm going to write a book. It was like, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm doing this anyway. So a question that I have for you that I would love if you shared with everybody watching this is, how did you know to sign up for Create Your Light and for Radiate Your Light?
Create Your Light. I think Create Your Light was just me actually listening to myself that, okay, you need this. And for the first time in my life being like, oh, okay, I need this, and just doing it. Not really, I mean, I would do that in other instances of trying things, but this was a completely other level. But I think I resonated with you. And then also I listened to everything that you said and I was like, I need that. Like, that's what I need.
Yep.
Okay. All right. I'm going to give myself what I need. And that I, trusted the process through that. And then when Radiate Your Light Academy came, after I worked through, so much shadow, and I was like, I was even more dedicated to like putting myself first. And I was like, okay, like, what do we want now? And it really resonated with me. I just wanted to help people. Like, I knew it was like, I felt like it was a struggle, but a gift at the same time, being an empath. And I was like, how can I like work this out? And like, how can I help other people with this? And I didn't know, but it came to be that, at that time when I was starting to question that, I think we were maybe our last class for CYLA. And then you spoke and said, well, I have another program going on if you want to have a business. And I was like, hallelujah, like, ta-da, like, and I just, again, I was just like, what am I supposed to do? I'm supposed to do this. I'm supposed to do this. And I was like, okay, yes, I'm going to do it. But I was like all nervous. And the first day I was like, I don't know what I'm doing here.
I was internally laughing so hard because you were like, I don't know why I did this. I was like, I don't know, but we're going to figure it out. We're going to find it. And now look at you. Like, you're about to launch this amazing Empath Workbook. And I've seen it so that everybody knows. It is really, really good. I recommend it to everybody. And when this launches, I'm getting copies for myself, for my husband, for my sister, who is a true empath. It is going to change the way people understand and boundary themselves as an empath. So it's just, it gives me goosebumps. It's like every teacher's dream for their students to do something like this, because I just think it's going to be huge. It truly is. And even people watching right now, I have the comments going on my phone so I can see. Megan's commenting here. Megan's one of my shadow seekers too. And she's talking about how she's gone through experiences before where she's been fighting from anxiety since she was young and she didn't know why it was happening. So much so that doctors were just trying to put her on medicine, and nobody really understands, or at least the medical field, I think, doesn't really understand. So it's easier to just write a prescription for an anti-anxiety medication, or, pawn you off to somebody else, send you to a therapist, and maybe get bounced around a few times, and you just keep going, and you're not getting to the root source because you don't understand the why. And that's what shadow work is all about.
Yes, I definitely had that experience, especially when I was younger. I always had anxiety issues, and my parents didn't know what to do. They did the best that they could. My mom was like my source of like comfort. So she could provide that to me. But at the same time, what I really needed is, somebody to like help me with both like my empathic nature as well as to like talk to me as far as like what was wrong. And I went through that path of just trying to seek and find somebody to help me figure out what was wrong. And yes, they could figure out, okay, you have anxiety. Okay, see a therapist, talk about it, and also medication. But it did not fix it. I'm not saying it didn't help, but it didn't fix it. And I kept looking for a fix and kept looking for a fix. And that's, I think, where shadow work came in for me, where it took it to the next level to actually feel like I was fixing it.
Yeah, like you're getting down and dirty into the root causes. And we've seen everything. We've seen your childhood, we've seen your past lives, ones you really haven't expected to see, like those past lives where you've been in these like really powerful, almost like dark roles sometimes, just like me, where it's like now this karmic loop is playing out. And it's like, what the hell? Like, how is this even happening to me now in this life? But it makes all the pieces of the puzzle come together, so it makes sense. And when you have that level of understanding, then you can really heal that and change it in your body.
Yeah, I think, especially for me, ironically, like the word shadow didn't scare, I mean, it scared me in the sense that like I was scared of the dark and I was like, scared of the news and so on. But as I went through the process, it wasn't scary at all. It's really gives you the information that you need in order to create awareness around some pattern, to potentially like interject in the middle of that pattern and change it to a new pattern. And it also helps you accept things, but you also see it from a different lens, so you don't have the judgment that you usually do. Like I think so often we walk around just, really beating ourselves up, like where like, oh, I want to, whatever. I said I was going to go for a walk today. Look, now I'm not doing it again. And it's just that judgment level. But shadow work allows you to see it without that judgment. And then you reflect on it and you can actually feel your way through it and process it where maybe you didn't before in that experience, and it kind of closes the loop on it and you're able to move forward.
That changes everything. And you put it so eloquently. It does. It closes the loop on it. So it's not like this open wound that's still existing. It's like you actually do what you have to do to heal it, to close it off, to make it go away so that it's not this open-ended thing that's living in your body. It makes such a difference.
Yeah, it really does. And it helped me understand more where I knew I was getting, I'm going to use the word triggered, but I feel like that's another word that's getting overused.
But there's truth to triggers. You can be
Yeah,
triggered by things. Mhm.
yeah. I in certain instances, I knew I was getting triggered and I could feel it in my body and my nervous system. So I could acknowledge that, but I didn't know how to rewrite that story of whatever was happening after that.
Yeah.
And being able to go back and figure out, hey, oh, like, whoa, this is pinging on me. What is this that's pinging on me? Maybe my husband says, and it's not, it's just like, oh, why did you do that? And immediately I'm just like in my mind, like, did I do something wrong? Did I this? Did I that? And kind of going back to when that potentially started and looking at that experience just gives you a different view on it. Say, oh, wow, like, oh, little Andrea in school felt like this. And you're just like, oh, like you feel it and you're able to feel your way like through it and acknowledge, wow, I did feel like that. And then I just had to like keep going, or I ignored it, or whatever it is,
Mhm.
so that you're going to like the root of that. And then you're able to like the next time it might come up, you go, oh, okay, I see that's pinging on like that wound or whatever. And you're able to continuously like rewrite that story around that.
Absolutely. And that's where the powerful stuff comes in. And the reason why shadow work is kind of the gift that keeps on giving, because it's not like you do 8 sessions and it's over. Like, wash your hands of it. We
Yeah.
did it. It really is something that's a continual journey, like anything with healing is. And you're going to find throughout your life that you're going to be triggered by things. And when you know the tools to get through it, just like you did, Andrea, it's like, oh, I'm getting triggered by this. Let me get to the root source of it. Oh, I remember this happening in my childhood because I just meditated and found that moment. Oh, poor childhood Andrea. My inner child is really hurting from that. And you can work to change it in that moment. But if you didn't know how to go through that process, you just feel triggered. And it's like, well, now what? Like, how do I get past that? Or maybe you don't even have the awareness to think about getting past it. It's just like, well, this is my life. This is what I'm like. I just am someone who's really sensitive, or I'm just someone who internalizes a lot of things. I'm someone who's really hard on myself. And a lot of empaths feel that. I feel like empaths more than other people, because you guys are sponges and you take on everybody else's stuff, you internalize more than the average person. Our gut reaction as human beings is to externalize, like, oh, it's not me, it's them. Like, oh, I was late, it's the traffic. It's not because I was running behind because I hit snooze an extra 2 times this morning, it was the traffic. But empaths more often internalize, I'm bad, there's something wrong with me. I made this happen. I should never have hit snooze. What was I thinking? And it goes in that other direction. So having shadow work in your back pocket is huge because you can help move yourself out of it. And tools like what you created with the Empath Workbook are also amazing because it's like, now that I know how to get myself out of it, how do I protect myself from getting there in the first place? How do I create the structures and boundaries around it, which is just so cool. So Andrea, if you don't mind, I want to know about your time in Create Your Light Academy. What did it feel like to go through this program that's like, I mean, it's heavy stuff. And you said yourself, it sounds scarier than it is. It actually is pretty cool when you're going through it. But how did it feel to go through 8 weeks of shadow work all in one shot?
I mean, I think it just felt good. I mean, it sounds weird to say or
I don't think so, because I feel the same way.
I'm trying to rewrite I'm not going to use the word weird anymore. I'm changing it from weird to interesting. But I found myself looking forward to it every week, even though it was heavy things. If I felt like lighter after it, and I felt that I was going through a lot of like chronic pain issues at that time, and I could feel that it just felt like I was releasing things that I was holding within my body, whether it was somebody else's or whether it was mine. And two, through the process, you go through with multiple women, and through that process, sharing your story, but then also hearing their experiences, more often than not, those experiences resonated with me also. So it was almost like getting the benefit of, like 10 people going through the program too. Yeah. Like you would realize you would have your own information that come up, and then other people would have their information that come up. And then, so pretty much you got like 10 insights out of just like your own, I feel like. And everybody, the environment, so often we want to hide our true selves. Like we want to hide those things. So bringing those things out and talking about them with other people, and those people's reaction being like, oh, that sounds hard. Or, oh, like maybe try this. That helped me. The environment was the most supportive environment I've ever witnessed, especially with women, where it was just unconditional, like support, like not judgment, no comparison, just all that stuff that is like rampant, that I feel like every woman really wants to change. Like, we don't want that. Like, but it was just, I still, two of the women that were in Create Your Light Academy continued on into like Radiate Your Light Academy, and we're still in contact. And I wish everybody, I feel like, even if they're not in your Create Your Light, like, I don't know, season, like your pod. Yeah, your pod, like, it's not just those people, it's all the sisterhood of everybody who've ever done it. And you just find yourself resonating with other people and just like wishing them well, and then you find synchronicities between the two of you. So it was just, I don't know, it's just beautiful. I don't know another word to like describe it.
We had a situation happen this morning, and this is so cool. So we did our final week of Create Your Light Academy this week. There's a Thursday group. So one group goes in the afternoon, the other one's at nighttime. And it's because we have people all over the world. So someone from Dubai is in the early group, which is why we had to have an early group, and it worked out perfectly. But one of the women spoke and she said, I'm so embarrassed to say this, and please, like, I'm just going to put it out there and I'm just going to let it be. And she said something, and at least two other people were like, oh, me too. Like, they just normalized something that she was terrified to say. And the look of relief on her face after she put it out there, that's the reason why I do this. Like, we're all going through the same stuff. We're all normal. We're all beautiful and powerful. And you don't realize how much you have inside of you until you share an experience like this, I feel, because it's just a mirror for everything that you are. It's cool.
Yeah, it is really cool.
Thank you for sharing that, for sure. I want to make sure that we have a lot of time to talk about your book. So please share any way that people can reach out to you about the book, if they have questions, or how to follow you for updates about when the book is going to be live. Where can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, everybody can reach me on Instagram. It's at Andrea Marie Snyder. and I'll put it below in the comments. And yeah, my workbook is launching next week, which
Yay.
3/22, and we're definitely going to have a launch party for
Yes,
it.
we are.
And so this is it. This is my
So
proof.
beautiful.
My
Look at
proof.
this book.
My proof copy.
Flip through the pages. Show people like how detailed
Yeah.
this is. Like, look how thick this book is.
Yeah,
Go from the side. This is a thick
200.
workbook, people.
It's 250 pages, and when I got the proof, I was like, "Whoa, this is like thick." And I was like, "Should I?" I was like, "Should I scale this down?" I'm like, "No, we're not scaling that down."
You needed everything that was in there. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's chock full of like information, tools, like exercises. Like I have a little, like, if you think, I just posted about like meditation and like keeping it simple. So like there's a simple like meditation in there. I mentioned things like crystals and
grounding practices. I know you have in there.
Yeah, grounding practices. It takes you basically from the beginning of, okay, how do you feel you're an empath? What are the signs of being an empath? Going through each one of your bodies, talking about the chakras, talking about meditation, talking about rewriting your story, which is like basically subconscious work. So it's really is, I have to say, really is a beautiful thing. I was looking
on the back. That book is amazing. I'm so proud. It's unreal. And it's going to be releasing next week. We'll be announcing the launch party so that everybody knows. So don't worry about finding her on social media. We'll have her stuff. I'm going to be posting it on my Instagram and sharing it. We'll post something here in the Clarity Club. When she does her launch, she's going to be having a freebie that if you sign up and purchase a copy of the book and prove that you did with a receipt, you'll be enlisted to be able to win some amazing prizes. She'll be announcing all that stuff in the next couple of weeks. I'm just so infinitely proud of you, Andrea, and everything that you've done. You are an amazing shadow seeker and human, and I love you for coming on here and for sharing your experience and for just being you.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. And yeah, definitely anybody reach out to me on Instagram, whether you're an empath or you have more questions related to Create Your Light Academy. I'm happy to talk about it with you. So yeah, this was awesome. Thank you, Danielle.
Of course. And for everybody watching, thank you for tuning in live or for watching the replay. Let us know if you are here on the replay by commenting below in this post. If you have questions, you can ask them directly to Andrea there or message her on socials. And we'll see you all tomorrow. The time for tomorrow is a little bit different because I'm going to be having Teresa on, who has a full-time job on top of being a full-time medium. So it's going to be at 12:30 p.m. EST instead of our usual 3 o'clock. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Thank you again, Andrea. And love you guys.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.